This is a Fox News alert. Matt Finn is on the ground in Tucson. He has breaking details on last night's police operation. Matt.
Hi, Kaylee. So Sheriff Nanos here in Pima County tells me that no one was arrested last night. No one is in custody at this hour in relation to all that law enforcement activity on the ground last night. I would caution that that's the update at this hour. This is obviously a very evolving situation. Law enforcement has already warned that people that they are questioning could later be arrested. So we know that someone was questioned and released earlier this week, but the sheriff says, hey, that person is not entirely cleared. So the latest update from the Pima County Sheriff is no arrest, no one in custody at this hour. Also, a takeaway here is that we are, starting to see a pattern where law enforcement, if they're focusing on a target, they may bring out all of the bells and whistles, the entire SWAT team, multiple law enforcement vehicles, maybe simply just to question someone because they don't want to run the risk of any type of backfire. So moving forward, if we see a lot of a SWAT team or law enforcement activity, it may simply be just to bring someone in for questioning. Now, also there is that other scenario or incident that was happening last night with a Range Rover that was ultimately impounded. The Pima County Sheriff's Office told us it cannot confirm that that was related at all to the Nancy Guthrie case. They weren't denying it was, but they are not confirming all that information you're seeing about the Range Rover was related to the Guthrie case. Again, that is the update at this hour. Perhaps the FBI will come out with something different. Kaylee.
Yeah, and that fits the pattern of what we saw earlier in the week where there was questioning of an individual. We saw that SWAT team van move, but it ended up just being a questioning that resulted in very little as you interviewed the sheriff. He essentially said that suspect, not a suspect rather, but that individual who was questioned is clear for now. Is that correct?
Yes. Now, but again, the sheriff says no one has been ruled out, and he has actually told me, look, that guy who we questioned, maybe we'll arrest him later on. He was confident with his alibi, and he was released. But the sheriff is urging that anybody that they're questioning or briefly detaining could be later arrested. And I also would, highlight that we haven't heard from the FBI on this matter. The statement that the sheriff initially released earlier was saying, we're holding off based on what the FBI is asking of us. So maybe the FBI will come out in a bit and give us something different.
Matt, keep us updated. Thank you. Well, let's bring in criminal defense attorney, Fox News contributor Donna Rotunno, who's a host of Fox News true crime podcast, Crime and Justice. It begins this week. Donna, thank you for joining me. I was just with you yesterday. We see these updates. Yes. We see this search of a home. Of course, you need a warrant for that. We see the questioning of individuals in that home. But the news this hour, no arrest, no one in custody. What do you make of that?
Oh my goodness, we saw this flurry of activity last night, and they keep letting these SWAT vehicles go out to these scenes, and we think, oh my goodness, something big is about to happen. And then several hours later, we find out that they brought people in and let them go. That's strange, actually. There are definitely investigations where we have officers going out, questioning people, trying to figure out what happened. But the fact that we've now had 3 situations, one last week, and then yesterday it was really 2 separate scenes where they were bringing people in. That's rare. I mean, they're getting warrants, they're going into homes, and yet we're not getting any new details. You know as well as I do, Kaylee, in order to go into someone's home, you have to have probable cause. A judge has to sign a warrant, and there has to be a reason for you to do so. And the fact that we don't know what any of those reasons are is very difficult. It makes it difficult to speculate on what's happening here, and it makes it difficult for us to understand what the next phase of this investigation truly is. And are these real leads, or is it a shot in the dark?
That's my question. So we know with these search warrants that you could cite exigency. There's a woman who we don't know where she is. We don't know if she's kidnapped. We are trying to find an 84-year-old. So you can cite exigency as you attain that warrant. But I'm interested in what you said about how it is rare. Multiple warrants, multiple homes. We all heard from that individual, that food delivery man, which ended up not leading in any clear direction.
Yes. And I don't necessarily think the warrants themselves are that rare if they have probable cause in order to get it. Obviously, a judge signs off on those things. But the fact that you're bringing people in and arresting them with SWAT teams, and I know that we were talking about this difference between detaining versus arresting. And obviously, if someone is detained, they're held for a period of time, they're let go. You're arrested. Normally, it's longer. Arrest has to do with probable cause, and a detainment has to do with reasonable suspicion. But you know as well as I do that if someone losing their freedom, even if it's for a short period of time, they are not free to leave. And so it's one thing to go and knock on a door and say, hey, I have some questions, and try to piece some things together. But it's a total other to be bringing people in and then letting them go this many times, I think, in a couple of days.
And the importance, as we both know, of crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You know, you are trying to find Nancy Guthrie. You're also trying to build a case. You have to Mirandize people. Right. You have to make sure your searches are above bar. You have warrants. Talk to me about the importance of trying to find someone. That is number one. But number two, preserving evidence for a case down the line.
Well, and definitely that's goal number one, is to find someone. But if you find someone and then you do something improper, then later on, if you have someone to arrest, you do not want to botch that investigation, which then leads to a technicality and somebody being released after committing a terrible crime. So yes, the police have to make sure they do what they are supposed to do in order to make sure that due process is met, that everyone's rights are preserved, because otherwise, you don't want to have an issue later on. The fear I see here is this is very strange, this back and forth law enforcement volleying that the FBI is doing with local law enforcement. And it's very bizarre to me. We're hearing, well, maybe the FBI will say something different. Well, why would they say something different? They should be working together. I understand the need to not want to talk while an investigation is pending because you don't want to tip anyone off. But at the same time, it seems very sketchy. One day we hear something about there was a glove in the house, and the next day we hear there wasn't a glove in the house. These are things that I think should be buttoned up. Was this a forced entry? Was it not a forced entry? At first we were told it was not, and then we were told we're not going to talk about it at all. So it's a strange investigation, I think.
Donna Rotunno, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.